if you haven't figured that out yet. If you can't understand me, that's part of what ataxia is. Raise your hand and I'll repeat. The reason why you're here today is because we're trying to get the word out about ataxia. And yesterday, as every September 25th was International Ataxia Awareness Day. And it's celebrated all around the world, if celebrate is the proper word. But at least there's a lot of information being dissipated. This walk is a way of getting people together to help us raise money to fight ataxia. It's a very rare disease. It's not really a disease. It's a collection of symptoms which altogether end up with situations where people lose muscular control. Ataxia is a Greek word which means a lack of control. And so if you see any of us here today that have ataxia, you'll see we walk funny. Have you seen John? John kind of walks funny. I can walk like that, but I tire easily, so I'm going to roll around today.
I thought he walked pretty good.
And he talks pretty good, too. The way this is going to work today is down at the far end of this paving area where the guardrail along the roadway is. To the right of that is a sidewalk. And the walk and the roll for anybody that's in a wheelchair or a bike or otherwise is going to be on that same trail. You walk along that trail for the amount of distance you want to go. You don't have to go 5K. You don't have to go an inch. The fact that you're here and that you're supporting us and you're going to learn something new about ataxia that you didn't know before is what's important. With me is John Mara. John is here from Boston today. He's on the board of directors of the National Ataxia Foundation. He's very involved in making the decisions on how the research money that is spent by our organization is spent. And they've got a budget this year of about $1 million they're spending, which isn't very much in the big field of things if you consider cancer. But there are only 150,000 people in this country that today that we know have ataxia. We're sure that there are a lot more because the symptoms of ataxia come one at a time. They come at different times at different ages, and you put them all together and you find out that what you have is a condition in your brain where the part of your brain is atrophied. It affects the signals going from your brain to your muscles. The muscles going to all your limbs, the muscles going to your speech, muscles going to your throat and swallowing. It's a condition which is continually getting worse. It is debilitating. There is no known cure right now. About 50% of the people who have ataxia have a genetic transmittal from their parents. The rest of us, maybe a half of us, were involved in some kind of an accident that affected the brain, or a stroke that affected the brain. The remaining number of people, of which I'm one, we don't know what caused it. It took me 20 years to figure out I had it, but I was treating all these separate symptoms. And we don't have time to go into that today, and you don't want to know that anyway. But the reason why we talk about it is because there will be probably in this group some people that might have ataxia that don't know the symptoms and are not dealing with it. We treated individually probably 10 different symptoms before we figured out that I was having trouble with my brain. It took 20 years. You don't want to go through a situation where you're trying to figure out what's wrong with you for 20 years and you don't know. It drives your wife crazy. She says, there's something wrong with that man. Whenever the teacher stands behind me and screams, she goes like that. Is that teacher gone now?
She's right here.
Oh,
I'm hiding now.
I'm glad you're up there. Okay. Do you want to say anything, John?